Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about Buzzfeed being caught stealing. Again. Now, idea theft or plagiarism has been a pretty common theme in Buzzfeed's history, but before we get too far, I want to warn you guys. I have a bit of a different view on this. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to defend Buzzfeed here. Not exactly. I mean, I hate them as much as the next guy, and they are a bunch of hack ripoff artists, but I do think some of these girls who have been calling them out for stealing have been overreacting. Let me explain. First, let's go back to February, when the now notorious Akilah obviously accused Buzzfeed of ripping her off. This was the first big accusation thrown at Buzzfeed in 2017, and while Akilah makes some good points about how shitty and repetitive and opportunistic they are, her ripoff claims are rather thin if you just isolate them from her video. Here's the sketch Akilah made, a little joke thing about how introverts are romanticized on Tumblr. And then here's Buzzfeed's ripoff version, which just copies one joke from Akilah's sketch, which really wasn't something all that creative or original to begin with. Sure, it's shady and it sucks, but was this really worth making such a big stink over? I don't think so. Akilah freaked out. She made this video, tried pushing the hashtag BuzzThieves on Twitter, and she even started a fucking petition over this. Rebel media style. And let's be real, it's pretty hard to sympathize with Akilah knowing her history. If you don't remember, she's been on the show here a couple times before. First when she said it was okay to punch people she disagrees with, aka Nazis.
Look, I know that an intellectual's hierarchy of needs peaks at moral superiority, but give it a rest. Punching a Nazi is the ethical choice, because people only become Nazis when they didn't get that urge punched out of them in childhood.
And the second time was when she said she wanted less white people in America. She's basically an anti-white racist bigot.
If you could change one thing about the United States, what would it be?
Get more diversity, like less white people is really what I'm saying.
Yeah,
specifically.
Right.
And here's the kicker. Akilah's recently become even more infamous with her bogus lawsuit she's publicly filing against Sargon of Akkad for copyright and supposedly stealing one of her videos. I think when you put all this together, we can see what Akilah is obviously about. She's a petty, bitter, ugly woman who constantly accuses others of harassing her, stealing, and copying from her. She's doing all this for attention and money, and she's probably trying to save her dying channel. Next, let's move on to Jacqueline Glenn, the Nickelback of atheism herself. Just kidding. I'm actually a fan of Jack, and I noticed she subscribed to me too, but I think I would be doing both of us a disservice if I wasn't honest here. Jacqueline's been overreacting a bit to this recent situation she's gotten into with Buzzfeed, over them copying her. I will admit though, the way they've copied her was far worse and blatant and obvious. Not Akilah obvious. They've now stolen two of the ideas from Jacqueline's new Skeptic's Guide to Wellness show. But truth be told, if we're being honest, the ideas weren't all that original to begin with. Her episode about healing stones, for example, was shot at the same location by Jacqueline and Buzzfeed. But to be fair, every reality show in Hollywood is shot at this place, one time or another. In fact, I myself shot an episode of Basketball Wives there a few years back in my TV production days. So it's a pretty commonly used location, well before Jacqueline did it.
I have to hold myself back from wanting to punch a hole through the fucking wall.
Now of course, the timing of the things here is key. Buzzfeed filmed a similar video right after Jacqueline, twice, and there's some pretty good comparisons where even the shots and comments were the same as Jack's. I think this is the most incriminating part for Buzzfeed, but at the same time, again, Jacqueline's video wasn't all that original to begin with. The way they shot these things was typical and pretty standard. Start with a shot of the exterior, get some signage in there, cut to the inside with the host walking in, close-ups of the stones and stuff. It's really too common and generic to say it's outright shot-by-shot copy like Jacqueline says. I think they were both just done pretty generically, to be honest. The worst thing Buzzfeed did here was use Jack's idea and refilm it a week or so later.
Blair tweeted at me asking if I could sue them, and I would love to, but I don't think I can. Shuan had pointed out that this is the second time within the span of a month that they've copied me.
In her defense though, Jacqueline was clearly very invested in her new show, so seeing it ripped off twice by Buzzfeed must be infuriating. But I don't know if I would have made multiple video responses to this, and all the tweets and all the fuss that Jacqueline's been making. Seems like emotions may have got the best of her. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Glenn herself has been caught plagiarizing on her own YouTube channel multiple times, and she actually stole other people's videos word for word and put them out as her own. This makes it pretty hard to sympathize with her now that Buzzfeed's copying her, and I'm willing to bet many would say she's receiving her comeuppance for her misdeeds in the past. Just desserts, so to speak.
Okay, 60 seconds of background in case you've been living under a rock.
So a little background information in case you've been living under a rock.
Let me try and paint a picture for you. Okay, so Kim Davis goes to the DMV. but the office manager won't authorize the renewal of her driver's license because he's a Muslim and can't in good conscience approve of a woman driving.
What if she decided to get a driver's license and she went to the DMV and the person working there happened to be a Muslim?
Kim Davis knows a thing or two about the sanctity of marriage because she's on her 4th one. Not to mention the fact that she made babies with the man who would become husband number 3 while she was still married to husband number 1, but that's not the point, it's not the point.
Kim Davis has been married 4 times. She got pregnant with a baby from husband number 3 while somehow she was still married to husband number 1. I'll let you guys figure that out.
Lastly, let's talk about the most recent Buzzfeed copying. The YouTube channel titled Penguin Zero, also known as Critical, he made a video a few days ago called Buzzfeed Stealing From Me, and it's not another hot take on the matter like you'd expect.
It seems Buzzfeed has stolen a video idea from me. I never thought anyone would be able to replicate the high IQ content I produce, but it seems they tried their best and they took my baby and they shook it until it shit and they created an abhorrent abomination based on a beautiful video idea that I made and produced. And I know Buzzfeed is familiar with the video I made because it was #1 on YouTube trending in my dreams earlier last week when I made it.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because they didn't copy him so bad, or maybe he doesn't really care, or maybe it's because he's a dude, but Critical really took this in the best direction possible. For those who haven't seen his video, or don't get it, Critical made this highly sarcastic Buzzfeed stole from me video to poke fun at Jacqueline Glenn and others who have been freaking out about this. But don't worry, he razzes Buzzfeed properly too.
What the fuck is that surprised reaction for? Did you not expect there to be chocolate under that wrapper? I don't understand at all. Did you expect there to be a car under it? This is such a stupid fucking reaction. This is the type of performance parents would put on in front of their toddler in order to make them eat their vegetables to make it seem more appealing.
But in his own sort of way, he doesn't get all petty and emotional about them making a video about Reptar bars a few days after his. In fact, Buzzfeed's copy was made by the same girl who copied Jacqueline's video, so there is some merit to their claims. This dumb bitch right here is most certainly trolling through YouTube daily, trying to find shit to copy, and that's not okay. But Critical's sarcastic, monotone, and funny approach to the situation is definitely the best take I've seen on it so far. He quickly recognizes that his video wasn't all that original to begin with, and the fact that Buzzfeed copied it isn't the end of the world or anything. I think the girls we mentioned before could take a note from Crit's book. Don't get too emotional and protective of your content, of your work. Put it out there and let the world do with it what they will. If they copy it, so what? That's not really hurting you that much. Not as much as you think. And as they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
He was a savior, Mithras, sent to Earth to live as a mortal.
Mithras was a Roman god. He was the savior. He was sent to Earth to live as a mortal,
through whom it was possible for sinners to be reborn into immortal life.
He died for our sins so that sinners could have everlasting life.
He died for our sins, but came back to life the following Sunday. He was born of a virgin on December the 25th in a manger or perhaps a cave.
But of course, he was resurrected from the dead. He was born from a virgin on December 25th.
Attended by shepherds and became known as the light of the world.
Plus, if your shit is that easy to copy and reproduce, then maybe it's time to start rethinking your content, especially if you're likely to get this butthurt about people ripping you off. I would say use more of your personality and try to be as original as you can with it. That's why guys like me and Critical don't have to worry about this shit. Our videos are mostly based on us, our voices, and our unique take on things. And no one can copy that, except maybe Daniel Day-Lewis. That guy can act like anyone he wants. He could probably do anything. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Us natives, born rightwise to this fine land, or the foreign hordes defiling it.
What do you guys think? Were Akila and now Jacqueline overreacting? I'd say Jacqueline has the strongest case of anyone here. And what about Critical's take on Buzzfeed? Who are the worst still, by the way? I haven't forgot about them or anything, don't worry. They just have seemed to give up on their old ways of race baiting and dabbling in social justice propaganda. That's why we haven't needed to talk about them much on the show lately. I do have one last idea about this though. Why don't we flip the script on Buzzfeed here? Let's have everyone start to copy Buzzfeed now. Next week should be Copy Buzzfeed Week. That will really stick it to them. Everyone who wants to join in can just start ripping off their videos in solidarity. And don't forget to credit my channel for starting this. We call it the old switcheroo. Hashtag Let's Steal from Buzzfeed. Spread the word, people. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for watching No Bullshit. Until next time, bye-bye.
Yeah.
One more thing, I want to give a special thanks to these amazing Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. You guys went above and beyond the rest, and I love you so much for it. If anyone else wants to donate or join our Patreon crew, link in the description. Thanks again.
Then may the Christian Lord guide my hand against your Roman popery.
Prepare to receive the true Lord.